Shalawam, giving all praises to the Heavenly Father Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered across the four corners of the earth. This is just going to be a quick video going into the beast, his image, and his mark for any new believers out there that's just now coming into the faith. I know personally that while I was in Christianity, this subject was mostly left up for guessing and was poorly expounded upon. But when you're called into the truth of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and the Spirit is supping with you, you will be able to go precept upon precept, piecing the scriptures together in order to gain a clear understanding. So to get straight into it, the beast is the Roman Empire, which has been revived and is now known today as NATO in the EU. At the forefront of this beast is America, also known as Babylon the Great. The image of the beast is the Greco-Roman ideology and philosophy that has been brought back into the world via the Renaissance. And the mark of the beast is the RFID microchip that will soon be forced on all humanity in order to be a part of society. Now, to identify the beast in the scriptures and to link it with the world we live in today, we can first observe the statue in Daniel chapter 2. In Daniel chapter 2, King Nebuchadnezzar has a dream of a statue that is interpreted by the prophet Daniel. This statue essentially outlines four major kingdoms that would rule on the earth before the return of Yahweh Shai to establish the eternal kingdom. These four major kingdoms would also be places where the Israelites would be captive. Now we know that the Israelites have already been through the captivities of the Babylonians, the Medo-Persians, the Grecians, and the Romans. So that leaves us with the iron and clay, which is the revived Roman Empire. This is the book of Daniel chapter 2 and 40. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. The legs of iron represent the Roman Empire, which was ran by the Edomites and was known for its strong military. Verse 41. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. The feet and toes made of iron and clay represent the revival of the Roman Empire, and this is what we are living in today. This is the book of Revelation chapter 12 and verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. This red dragon is the Roman Empire. We know this because Yahweh Shai was born during the Roman captivity. And this verse is speaking of when King Herod attempted to kill Yahweh Shai as soon as he was born. As we know, King Herod was an Edomite, and he was set up by the Roman Empire. This is the book of Revelation chapter 13 and 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. These 7 heads represent the 7 major kingdoms ruled by Esau Edom: the Greeks, the Romans, the Spanish, French, Germania Major, Germania Minor, and the British. The 10 horns represent the 10 subordinate vassal states to Rome, which today is fulfilled in the EU. Verse 2 says, And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and his great authority. The leopard represents the Greeks, through whom the beast first came into power. The feet of a bear represents Russia, because the Russians will be used to bring down this beast system. The mouth of a lion represents the British, because out of Britain was America born. Lastly, the dragon represents Rome, the ancient Roman Empire, because it was through them that the Edomites were able to really gain world dominance. Verse 3 says, And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. This deadly wound is speaking of the fall of the Western Roman Empire. This is the book of Revelation chapter 20 and 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season. Again, the dragon is the Roman Empire. The bottomless pit is Europe. Verse 3 is speaking of when the Roman Empire fell, and the Edomites were chased into the Caucasus Mountains, where they remained locked up for 1,000 years. Those 1,000 years were known as the Dark Ages, in which Israelites ruled in what was known as the Byzantine Empire. Skipping down to verse 7, it reads, And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. This is speaking of the Renaissance. Renaissance meaning rebirth. It was a rebirth of Greco-Roman ideology in the world. After the 1,000 years, the Edomites came out of the Caucasus Mountains, where they began to regain control of the earth. This brought about a revival of their ways and their customs, in which we experience today in the modern Western world, particularly Babylon the Great, America. Revelation 13:11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. This is speaking of America, fulfilling the rebirth of ancient Rome. The 2 horns represent the bipartisan system that governs America through the Democrats and Republicans. In ancient Rome, they were known as the plebeians and patricians. The beast speaking as a dragon represents the tyranny, although through the bipartisan system, there would be an illusion of choice. Verse 12 says, And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. This lets you know that a revival of Rome would be established on the earth. Verse 13 says, And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth and the sight of men. And this is speaking of the thermonuclear missiles, as the sword that Esau was blessed with has only gotten sharper. Verse 14 says, And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by the sword, and did live. Now the image of the beast is the philosophy and way of life that governs this current society. To make an image essentially means to become one in likeness, or to conform to the image. As the saying goes, when in Rome, do as the Romans. Things like homosexuality, idolatry, adultery, covetousness, and rebellion make up this image. Verse 15 says, And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. The image of the beast is now speaking through this current society, as we see now that the ancient Roman way of life has been completely revived and is observed today in our day-to-day lives. Things like fast food and coliseums are just 2 of the many parallels between America and the ancient Roman Empire. Now, as we know, the ancient Roman Empire was all about control and heaping unto itself many subjects. This revived Roman Empire is no different. This brings us to the mark of the beast, which will be a physical device implanted in humans. Revelation 13:16 says, And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So eventually this beast system is going to make it mandatory for all humans on the earth to receive of this mark, no matter their status. We know through the history of this beast that this mark will most likely be presented as an answer to a worldwide problem. There's a term called order out of chaos, in which a problem is intentionally created just so an answer can be presented that would ultimately grant the elite more control. Regardless of how this mark is presented, we know that it would eventually become mandatory. Anyone who does not receive of this mark would be excluded from society or even killed. Now, the Greek word for mark is charagma. Charagma is defined as a stamp or an imprinted mark. In the Strong's definition, a scratch or an etching, a stamp as a badge of servitude. The root word for charagma is charax, which can be defined as a pale or stake or a palisade. Here in the Strong's definition, it says to sharpen to a point. This essentially goes into the needle or the instrument that will be used to insert this charagma. And the root word for charax is grapho, which means to write or fill with writing. This essentially represents the information that will be inscribed on that microchip, such as all your personal records and medical information. With this device implanted in you, the government will be able to fully track your every move. You will become the ultimate slave to this new digital technocracy. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 14 and 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. This will be the punishment for receiving that mark. Ending off here, this is Revelation chapter 3 and 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. So the Lord is going to allow this beast to make the mark mandatory, and this will be the ultimate test for you Israelites. When you take this mark, you are essentially saying that Esau Edom is your God and your master. Of course, right now, it is easy for anyone to say they have faith, but what if your car, your house, or your job were put on the line, let alone your life? Would you be able to trust Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai that he would keep you in that day? That is something we must constantly be asking ourselves, because receiving of that mark is an automatic death wish. But if we keep the Lord's word, he's already promised that he would keep us from the hour of temptation. So let's make sure we remain diligent and faithful, because we don't know when this day will come. Lord willing, this video is edifying and straight to the point. I'm going to end it by giving all praises to the Heavenly Father Yahweh, B'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, B'Hashem Rachak Wadash. Once again, double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered across the four corners of the earth. Shalawam.